All right, welcome to our demo today. We're going to look at the VirtualZ PropelZ product in its incremental mode, which is kind of a new feature for us. So first thing we're going to look at is the data we're going to work with. This is just a normal VSAM file. We're going to look at it in IBM's File Manager product because it gives us an easy way to view, and later we'll see manipulating some of these records. So I have a file here. If any of you guys have seen our demos before, it should look familiar. What we have is an open source list of all the world's airports that we converted into a VSAM file. So, it's, I'd call it a medium-large data set. These are long records, and as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there are 76,358 of them. So, this is what we're starting with, and you can see from the hex display, some of the fields are binary, some of them are EBCDIC text, some of them are floating point. We'll look at all of that in a few minutes on the database side once we start moving some of these records around. Now, the other really important thing we have to think about is the metadata. This COBOL copybook we're looking at here gives us the structure of the records, and you can see all the fields, and you'll see this in a couple minutes on the database. So I'm going to enter a PropelZ command, and if you've seen our PropelZ product, this looks familiar. The only thing that's unusual is I've specified the incremental option at the end of the command line. And what that's doing is it's telling PropelZ to capture signature about the file so we can understand what changes and how to deal with those. So, you can see in this case we populated the database. This is what the table we created looks like. Those column names match one for one exactly what you saw in the copybook. The database types are what you've configured into PropelZ. As part of it, we do more than just create the table. We create indexes. You can see them at the top of the display here. All of that's very flexible. You can have that done any way you want to, generally. So, let's look at the actual data here as well. So I'm just, here are the first 100 rows. And again, this matches exactly what we had on that input VSAM file. You can see the file's broken out into the constituent columns. Everything has been parsed correctly. Specifically things like that latitude and longitude were mainframe style floating point. The elevation numbers are just packed decimal fields, and so forth. So we've taken all of that complicated mainframe structure, we've put it in something that's familiar and comfortable in the database. So let's look at the incremental stuff in a little more detail. I've switched back here to that input file that we started with, and I'm going to do a couple of really simple modifications. I'm just going to go kind of randomly to a record. I don't even know where the Matala airport is on the world, but we're going to mark it as new. I'm going to do the same thing on this one, the Belleville airport. And I'm just going to make those couple changes. And again, I just used File Manager, but anything that changed the VSAM file would work here. And now I'm going to kind of toggle back to my PropelZ environment. I'm going to run exactly the same command we saw before. I'm going to say, here's an incremental status file where we captured the state of that VSAM file, and we're going to be able to use that to figure out we have two changed records, as you can see. You can also see how much faster this is. On my test environment, that was a good 20 times faster than having to sequentially populate the whole thing. And now I'm back looking at MySQL Workbench. I can see, and here I just did a SQL query for records that end in the word new. I can see the two that I modified. I can see all the other values that I expect for those records. So, it did exactly what was advertised. So anyway, that wraps up our demo for today. Thanks for watching.